Good morning, happy Tuesday. I voted here in Georgia. I'm going to get started. Welcome to the Donskie On The Righ. This is my podcast. We are everywhere. We're on iHeart, we're on Spotify, we're on Amazon Music, on Buzzsprout. Good golly. I think we're on YouTube. We're everywhere. We're just absolutely everywhere. On Facebook, X, Truth Social. I mean, I'm dominate airways, but I am on the right. I am a Republican. I am a conservative Christian Republican. Many of you know this. And today we're going to have a conversation about something that I hear often that is just simply not true. It is simply not true. And I'm a man of facts. I like facts. So we're going to talk about who built America. We're going to talk about America. America the Beautiful, as we go in and celebrate our 250th year in America. I say this is an important podcast for y'all to get to watch, for you to get to see. I hope that you relate to it. There are going to be people that are going to get offended. I'm used to that. I seem to offend a lot of people. But the Bible says that the truth will set you free. So I'm going to set us free with the truth, because I'm going to use the Bible as my reference. And so the question would be, who is responsible for building Americas? Who built the entire infrastructure of the United States of America? How did it start? How did we get to where we're at today? And what went on? And we're going to back that up with solid proof. When you hear the ignorance of some of these black people say that they built America and America was built off of their backs, and that they did it all, and that white people are benefiting from what the black people did. And I have to disagree. That is ignorance. That is just downright ignorant. That's an ignorant comment, and it's simply not true. America is primarily of European descent. White people, okay? Who built the foundations and the institutions, the legal system, the economy, the infrastructure, the innovations that define the modern United States today. If I look at the historical demographics, the founding, at the time of the founding in 1776, remember that quarter that we had a while back that said 1776, the bicentennial quarter? It was a declaration of 1787 Constitution. The population of the 13 colonies was overwhelmingly of what? European descent. They were white people. Estimates from 1790 show roughly 3.9 million people total. So far we have grown. The majority of the language was English, with significant Scot, Irish, German, and other Northern Western European ancestry. The Vikings, the Swiss, they was all a part of it, even the Spaniards. There were enslaved Americans, about 757,000. mostly in the South. Native Americans, your Indians, was inside U.S. boundaries. The political founders, the Constitution, the framers, the early presidents, the governing class were almost entirely white Protestant men of British or similar European stock. Now I want to go back and hit on that real quick. White Protestant men. When you hear the Democrats, such as Chuck Schumer, such as Cory Booker, such as Dan Goldman, such as Chris, what's that guy's name? Chris Matthews or whatever. When we hear these people say insanity stuff, when you hear Maxine Waters, Jasmine Crockett, let's just say the entire House, the Democrats in the entire House basically live and believe a lie. Because it is a lie when they say America was not built on Christian principles. The Constitution was written from the Ten Commandments. It's the facts. The U.S. was an extension of British colonial settlement. Law, common law, language, enlightened ideas, Protestant work ethics, cultural norms, early waves of settlers, English Puritans. What is a Puritan? It's Christian, right? Established self-governing institutions, cleared land, built farms, built towns, and trade networks. This was the founding of the United States of America. This was the founding. Colonial and early Republic era white settlers, including indentured servants, did the bulk of the initial land clearing, the farming, the building in the North and much of the South. The South's plantations economy relied heavily on enslaved black labor. That's where the blacks came in. They farmed our crops. They kept our land. They kept our plantations. The South's plantation economy relied heavily on black labor for cash crops like cotton, tobacco, and rice, which generated wealth for who? The white man. Because we were the owners, we were the founders. We were putting them to work, giving them a job. Back then they called it slavery. However, slavery, economic dominance, was regionally concentrated. Up north, it was more of an industrialized type of atmosphere. Banking, shipping, manufacturing. This was all driven by white entrepreneurs, workers, immigrants. The 19th century came along, and we had the expansion of what? Railroads, canals, factories, steel, oil, automobiles, the core of industrial America. And these were led by figures who were white men. Vanderbilt, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Ford, Morgan. Mostly British and Scottish German descent. Immigrant labor, Irish, Italian, German, Chinese, etc., were crucial for the railroads and the factories, but under white directed capital, money, engineering, and management. Now, black Americans, to their credit, did make a contribution significantly through forced labor. This is why they're so mad. This is why they're asking for reparations and all of that. Something 250 years ago that their ancestors did, and these people today think that they deserve reparations because they live in the ghetto, they live in the projects, because they don't work, they lie, cheat, steal, and kill. They're horrible, horrible, horrible humans. They chimp out all the time. I mean, you can't trust them. Nobody wants to be around them. They snatch and grab. They loot. They burn. Their culture is extremely, extremely, extremely violent. Because they're mad because we won't give them anything. We want you to go out and work for your living just like the rest of us do. Through the labor and some black things were like the White House, the Capitol building, all built under construction, mostly white, designed by white people with some black labor. And later free labor, agriculture, some innovation. But population share was 13 to 19% historically, with lower per capita rates in patents, large-scale industry, leadership, and frontier settlement due to legal barriers until the mid-20th century. U.S. technological leadership came disproportionately from who? White European descendants, inventors. During the golden age of invention, black Americans accounted for an estimate of about 2.7% of the patents that went around in this city. Higher per capita in the North than the national averages at times. The South was a little bit lower, which is notable given barriers, but far from the majority. European immigration and their descendants dominated overall patenting and industrial breakthroughs by who? White people. White people dominated anything and everything in the industry. We built this country. We built it. Did we have help? Yes. Have we ever said that we didn't have help? No. But we're not giving you no reparations. We ain't paying them one penny. If you look into the prisons today, in modern day 2026, in the prison of this country is 77% white, 13% black, and then the other 10% is a bunch of mixed vegetables, mixed fruit. The Chinese, the Asians, the Middle Easterns kind of try to blend in with us. The contributions, though, who was involved in that? Native Americans, pre-Columbian societies had advanced in agriculture and cultures. Many groups influenced early settlers, crops, trails. European contact brought what? Now, this is what started coming in from Africa. This is what started coming in from other countries and poisoned America. Is all of a sudden, as we started noticing and bringing in more of the Africans, we was getting diseases. Okay, disease had hit us. What came along with disease? Does this not sound familiar to you? What came along with disease? Conflict, displacement. It's common today that if you look in cities like Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Houston, New York City, Minneapolis, Minnesota, if you look in these cities that I just named, you will see crime at a much higher rate than red belt cities, than Republican areas. And that's because the Democratic areas, they are full of violent cultures, especially the black culture. The black culture is the most violent culture on American soil, and the liberal legacy media approves it and also defends it. The liberal legacy media not only approves it, they defend it. Enslaved Africans that eventually became black Americans, they did a good job in agriculture, to be honest with you. They did fight in wars. They helped shape culture with music, food, language. Although many black people have a hard time pronunciating their words, pronunciating language. They cannot speak. They, instead of saying that, which is spelled T-H-A-T, they say dat, D-A-T. And they try to sound intelligent. And they always want to describe themselves. I am a black woman. I am a black man. I am a black woman. I have 5 kids. And 3 different daddies. Regardless of that. But they want to describe, like, we don't walk around going, I am a white man. I don't know if I've ever even said that to anybody before. Because guess what? They know I'm white. All you got to do is look at me. Just like all I got to do is look at a black woman, and I know that I'm looking at a black woman. But the difference is there's no shame in their game. And they are loud and obnoxious and embarrassing and want to be heard. And it's as if they're going to force us to hear them, even if we don't want to. They're going to force themselves on us. They're going to force their culture on us, their lifestyle. And if we don't like it and we don't want to listen to it, they go out and they loot and rob and steal and riot and burn and even kill. Post-emancipation contributions grew, especially in the 20th century. The Great Migrants, the Civil Rights, the military service. We had other immigrants also, the Chinese on the railroads, the Irish on the infrastructure, the Jews in finance and entertainment, Hispanics in Southwest, agriculture, labor, etc. And the U.S. became a melting pot over time, which is a beautiful thing. I would say that it's safe to say that no single group built it alone, but the white Europeans, we led it. We led the fight in making America great. The institutional culture and the demographics core that enabled a scale rule of law, the property rights, the innovation attracting further talent. everything was kind of moving right along, and then Lyndon B. Johnson became the president of the United States. And during his presidency, he decided, so after Kennedy was shot, Lyndon B. Johnson takes over. And he is a stark liberal, woke Democrat back in the day, back in the 60s. So he invented this thing. And he called it the Great Society, the Great Society. And what he did is he went out and told black women to get pregnant and that the government would pay them to get pregnant to build this great society. And that's the way your welfare came along, your food stamps came along, free housing, free health care, free everything. And yet these black ghettos in America, and these people get out and stand there and hold up signs saying, we're not going to do this unless we get our reparations. And now they're saying they're going to move out of America. God, I hope they move out of America. I want to take a sidebar here. Dear black people, we do not care about your feelings. We don't care. We're not going to give you no money. We have given you plenty. You have lived off of our backs since Lyndon B. Johnson, probably longer than that. So you can forget it. And the way that you thank us is you kill us. This boy out in Texas stabbed another boy in the chest with a knife and murdered him in cold blood and got found guilty and got 35 years in prison. And black society in America is going crazy. The liberal media, including the white liberal media, who is part of the problem, by the way. These protesters and all that, part of the problem. Another sidebar, by the way. You get out and you stand in the middle of the street protesting when people are trying to get to work, trying to get home, trying to go pick up their kids from elementary school, trying to get to the doctor. When you're standing in the middle of the street, blocking the street, there needs to be a law passed that we can mow you down and roll right through you and run you over. See, that'll put a stop to that nonsense. That'll put a stop to that nonsense. Claims in society about slavery, build America, is an overstatement at best. It was one region's contribution. And ignore that free white labor, capital, and governments created the framework for the national growth. The North outpaced the South economically. Claims erasing European agency ignores funding, facts, and data on leadership, invention. Yes, I'll go back and say it again. All the groups added value, but nobody added more value than white people. And that's why white people, the white conservative people, because these white liberals, they're as much of a problem as these black folks, these black ghetto thugs. These white liberals they're a big problem also. And that's because the legacy news media is out there encouraging them to go out and act like jackasses, which is exactly what they do. But claims erasing European white Americans who funded the economy to build the infrastructure of the United States of America to what it is today. The leadership, the invention, the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the writing of the Constitution. I mean, the Louisiana Purchase. I mean, this is there's so much. The division of states, the dividing of states, the building to where we became 50 states in a country, allowing each state to have a governor and to govern itself. All from white people. This is all from white people. I don't think black people belong in politics because they're ignorant. They don't know what they're doing. And they say stupid stuff. If you ever listen to a black person talk, they always want to talk about race and color. I don't want somebody doing open heart surgery on me because of the color of their skin. I want them to be a qualified doctor that has went to school and got the proper education and the know-how before they go cutting me open. Same with my dentist, same with my vision, the same with my brain, same if I got a broken bone. I don't want to deal with somebody just because they're black. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Ever. To end this observation of American history is not a moral judgment as we go in to celebrate 250 years this July 4th. Modern America benefits from all inputs in its origins in all walks of life. But make no doubt about it. Make no doubt about it. Modern America is great because of white people. We built this country. We did just about everything. And without us, there would be no United States of America. God bless. Have a good day.